Hello, everyone. Welcome back to E20 Zone TV on this Monday afternoon, evening, tea time, whatever you want to put it. I'm here to talk about West Ham's ownership problems and the media exposure that they've currently got right now, which I'm going to be honest is a joy. Is a complete and utter joy. Clive will be in a minute when he sorts himself out, and we will have a chat about it. But for me, excellent from everyone over the weekend. Listen, what everyone done over the weekend was absolute first class. But let's get Clive in. Clive, what you saying, son?
Evening. Is this
Yeah,
working? Yeah, this is working, I think.
yep, it is working. What you saying, mate? Talk to me about everything
Yeah.
West Ham related.
Pretty appalling start to the season. Let's start off with that, I guess.
Yeah, I know, mate.
Can't head for our lives. Can't defend for our lives. A set piece. Once we were set piece kings, now we're getting set pieces thrown against us like no man's business. So yeah, it's a bit diabolical. Um, I'll be honest, I've said from day one that Potter wasn't the right person for us, especially considering his sort of playing style is not far off from Moyes in the sense of, being in the past, at least defensively, quite well presented. But obviously, in our scenario, we're defensively inept. So
Yeah.
it's a strange time at the club. I think not only from obviously everything going on with the club, but also from a managerial point of view, because you look at the options, you look at what we can and can't do, and it doesn't look great even without Potter in the picture.
Um, right, let's go through it. Anyone who wants to come on, listen, I'm going to go till 6 o'clock. So anyone who wants to come on, by all means, the link's in the chat. Where it says link to join, you have a StreamYard link. Come on, have your say about anything you like. One thing I'm going to say is I'm proud of everyone. I really am. I fucking am. Because everyone is finally starting to look upstairs at this fucking dwarf fucker, right? And he's the one who's the problem. Today, absolute superb from Dan Lawless. Shout out that bald eagle geezer, mate. Right, what a guy. Yeah, goes on Talk Sport, absolutely has it up with Simon Jordan and does brilliant. Does absolutely superb and leaves them pretty much speechless. If we all stick together and we all maintain this over a long period of time, Sullivan won't last long. He ain't going to last long because he hates media spill. I've even seen his missus, or that bird that he calls a missus, having it with Central. She's blocked Central now, and basically all
Yeah,
the
but that's
fan base are
central
all.
though.
Yeah, it is Central, but I'm 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 gonna be straight. Yeah, if you make media exposure on this owner, yeah, he's got nowhere to run. He has got
You know
nowhere to
what?
run.
She is as dumb as Sullivan's son, isn't she? Because do you remember when Sullivan's son just kept on with the transfer bullshit?
Yeah,
And he got called out for it and everything, and she's no better herself. Absolute idiot for even responding, to be honest. But hey, not our issue.
yeah, I completely agree. Matt says here the little rat is feeling it now. It's fantastic. Rumours on Coombe is that he's looking to sell up, and that Brady has said it's her last season. It's probably rubbish. It's the hope that kills you. It probably is rubbish. When I actually see it in sort of writing and it's basically official, then I know it's definitely for real. At the minute, they're trying to do anything they can to get this fan base back on sides in regards of appointments. They're looking at village, they're looking at a West Ham sort of management team. No, we just want you to go and bring us an owner in. Who cares? Simple as that. And well, West Ham fans are the easiest fan base to please, right? We don't ask for trophies. We don't ask to win the league. We ask for good football, a progressive side, and a team to be proud of. That's really it. Well, I can't think of anything else. Do you know what I'm saying? And for me, this is a start. I think it's going to take a bit longer than just one protest, though. I will say that. What did you make of the protest, mate, from afar?
I think it's a start of something, but it depends on when the next protest is and everything along those lines. We can't just now just sit down and just be like, oh, we've done a protest. It's
Yeah.
about the follow through. The follow through, in my opinion, is more important than the protest itself, because otherwise that protest becomes pointless, and it was just a march that we did outside for no reason down
Mm.
the line. That's personally how I see it. Like, it's all well and good doing a protest, but it's the revolving door of what now comes through. What happens next? What is the next conversations? Will there be another set of conversations with the vice chair? Um, there's a lot, in my opinion, there's more questions than
Yeah.
there is answers post protest, because at the moment the problem we have now is it's not just off the field issues. We also have on the field issues here, which, you know it, I guess if you're the ownership, you're perhaps hoping that the on the field might improve the off the field situation, but I don't think that will be the case, because obviously we've seen this cycle over the
Yeah.
last decade. um, but I think having both is not helpful at present, I guess, because it's what issue do we tackle? Because ultimately, I don't think anyone wants to see the club getting relegated, even if that means getting rid of
I
the current
think people,
ownership.
though,
I think
I'm
it's
going to be honest
yeah,
though,
go on.
Clive. I think people don't care now either way because the club's going
I,
nowhere.
I I agree it's going nowhere, but whoever comes in isn't going to be able to put like the ticket prices down straight away, just because we've gone down to the championship, or all these different aspects. I get it could be seen as a potential reset as such,
Yeah.
but I don't think it's a good reset, because there is that potential that, you get rid of the ownership and you end up with a situation where we struggle to come out of the championship. Look how strong that championship division is now.
Oh, don't get me
Uh,
wrong.
the,
Don't get
the,
me
the,
wrong, Clive. I don't want to go down either. Right.
no,
I,
no, no.
I don't. Right. And I'm worried that if we go down, it might rip us apart for a longer period of
Exactly.
time. Yeah.
Exactly.
But
I don't think the championship is the same championship that we saw in the
yeah.
mid 2000s and early 2010s. I think this championship is a lot more difficult to get out. I mean, look at Sheffield United right now. Look at the all the relegated clubs
Yeah.
actually from last season,
True.
Ipswich and even Southampton. There's clubs that have spent a lot of money in that division, and they're not doing very well. And that division comes, I mean, even we struggled. I mean, look how many times we've had to come up through the playoffs. We didn't come up from automatic. We came up through
True.
playoffs, because that's as good as we've managed in the past. And I think, it's all well and good being like, right, let's get rid of the ownership. I'm not saying let's not here. It's more of a case of, we have to find that mediocre of fight for that, but also we need to try and get a solution to the whole uh, on the field antics.
Right. The solution
It's
on the
difficult.
field, right? The solution on the field is Potter, and it proves it right now. That I said it the other day. I said he ain't sacking him, and people are going, he's gone. He's gone after he loses against Crystal Palace. And I said, you just do not know
No,
what Sullivan's like. Right. Sullivan plays the game with the fan base, yeah. And I know that this sneaky little fucker's got something lined up. Yeah. And I hope
I th-
it
I
isn't.
think we have Potter until Leeds game. I think if we lose the Leeds game,
Right.
that's when he goes.
I, I I disagree. I think it's the next two. I think he sacks Potter. He brings a new manager in, and he's going to use that new manager against the fan base to say, well, anyone who's boycotting isn't a real fan because you need to get behind the team for the new manager. That is what he's going to do. I've got a feeling he's going to do that because
But
he's on the
but
ropes
that's
in a minute, Sullivan.
difficult. But that's difficult, because let's say hypothetically it ends up being Bilic, then in my opinion, Bilic, as a sort of, club star of the past, having been the manager in the past as well,
Right.
I don't see him going against the fans as such. And we've seen, and there's a bit, in my opinion, there's a big risk in bringing in Nuno if you're the chairman. We've seen Nuno fight against a chairman. We saw it in Forest.
Yeah.
Um, and if you're Sullivan, I don't think many of the options in that aspect that we're linked with necessarily defend him as an owner.
The bald know. The bald know we're serious. Right. Shout out to
Oh,
Hammers
100%.
United. Right. Shout out to Hammers United. Shout out to Cross Hammers. Um, Honestly, yeah, everyone needs to come together. I don't want to see no more division in this fucking fan base. People digging at people and people saying, well, why aren't you there? Why aren't you there? Fuck all that, right? Everyone's doing their bit, right? If I'm not there, yeah, and I'm not fucking at a protest in the future. I was there the other day. I actually turned up late and I was literally at the back with a mate of mine, and then I slipped away and got back home, right? For me, yeah, everyone has to do their bit. Social media is a powerful tool. Yeah. And when you turn the social media around on the person who is running the club into the ground and you really put out the true facts, not what they're fucking pushing, right? Not what they're pushing out there. Yeah. Then, right, people who are higher up than me, than any other YouTuber, any other fucking media person with West Ham, when they start asking questions to Sullivan of what's this all about, what's that all about, then he's got nowhere to run. I've been saying it for a long time, and I'm fucking grateful, mate. I'm so grateful that everyone is starting to look at this from afar, look upstairs, and go, he's the problem, not Potter, not players, him. Right? Potter's a problem, but Potter's only fucking 10% of the problem at the minute. Honestly, I'm not being funny or nothing. Like, he's in a situation where he hasn't been fully fucking backed, and he's just acting like a prick.
He hasn't, but this team of this caliber should not be defensively inept in set pieces. So obviously, I think there are certain questions that deserve to be asked of on the field. Because I mean, from what I've been watching, from what I've been seeing, I mean, defensively we're very inept, and we shouldn't be. I mean, look at the
Yeah.
amount of money that has been spent on the defensive players as a whole. And this isn't a defense on the ownership; it's more that I'm saying I think in a time of disruption like this, I certainly don't think Potter is the right person to be in charge during this disruptive period,
See
in my
that?
opinion.
That's a great. That's a great comment. Shout out to Kim Joe. People need to realize Donald Trump won the presidency of America because of Twitter in 2016. That's how big it is. If you can turn the media around on this ownership, we will win. 100%, right? And I'd have every pound, pence, cent. I'd lay everything on the line for this, because when they have to start being asked questions that they don't really want to answer, that's when it becomes that's when the media will turn on them. And you know what? As I said just a minute ago, everyone's doing their bit. Right? Every time I'm looking on my
Well,
feed, I'm seeing people on fucking TV. Do you know what I'm saying? So,
Well, yeah, it's true. I mean, what I find very interesting as well is looking at Kretinsky, because obviously we know gold shares. There's
yeah,
two or three potential interested parties, and my fear is that you're in a situation where I say we are in a situation where there's too many bit part owners. In the past we've always said it's GSB, right? And Kretinsky's ownership percentage isn't far off from what Gold's is, or the Gold estate, I should say,
yeah.
which we know he had the ability to purchase more shares and was even offered Gold's part of the business. So there are concerns that even if you unless Sullivan is gone, which is obviously the largest chunk, you end up with a situation of potentially three divisions within West Ham United going forward, because whoever does purchase Gold's shares may not necessarily agree with either Kretinsky or with Sullivan.
Mm.
And just because there's a potential purchaser for Gold's shares doesn't necessarily mean they're going to then purchase the remainder of the club, like we've seen with Kretinsky. He did not. And is the information of Gold's potential interest just to go, oh well, they've got the opportunity to purchase the remaining shares, because I would assume that will be in there. But like I said, we've seen it with Kretinsky. It did not happen. We have not seen to fruition Kretinsky purchase any more shares.
What? Let me ask you something. Obviously, the protest has happened now, but the boycott's coming up. What do you think should happen after the boycott? Because I do think the boycotts are going to do the damage. I think the protest is for the media. Okay, what itchy nose. The protest is for the media, right? And that's working. right? I knew it'd work, yeah, because once you start fucking protesting, all the media outlets want to do want a piece of the pie, right? And that's what it is. Everywhere where I've looked, it's everywhere, right? And that's what we want. We want media exposure in the highest form to sort of shine a light on it. The boycotts, I think, are going to do the damage, yeah. And I can see where people are saying, "Oh, well, if people want to go, right, it's the heartstrings." I think missing one game ain't going to be a problem, but it's a statement of intent. Like, um, what do you reckon happens next after the boycott against Brentford?
I would assume, I mean, I don't know how true this is, but obviously I've seen that the board allegedly don't believe the next two games are winnable games, which if you
Mm.
don't think you can even face Everton, you're in trouble, in my opinion. Um, so ultimately, I think we're in a situation where going forward, I'd assume, or I'd like to think that there's going to be more conversations between the board and the sort of supporters, multiple supporter affiliates that exist within West Ham, um, and I think the manager situation is going to be a hot topic because I'm looking at that aspect, and you don't want a temporary fix. We need to now start thinking of the long-term fixes, and I think, yeah, like you say, I think boycotting one match is something, but it needs to be consistent. Um,
I think,
you know,
I think it will be though, Clive. If I'm being honest, yeah,
it,
this doesn't feel toxic to me, right?
no,
Um, th-
I was going to say it's very different, even from a media
yeah,
point of view, because do you remember when we had issues with the board when it was Moyes in charge, and the media was sort of against us rather than for us,
but do you know
whilst
the
now it's
reason?
a role
Do you know?
reversed.
Do you know the reason why that is? Because everyone's using their loaf. Everyone's doing it in a calm manner. They're like
Oh yeah,
very composed. All of them, like Gary, who's from the Bobby Moore stand, he's doing his thing on Sky. Dan Lawless, everyone is doing their thing, but they're using their loaf at the minute, and they're using their brains, and they're going right. Don't lose your rag. Don't get emotionally involved in this. And that's why, if I ever got asked, I would never go on national TV or radio because I'm too emotionally involved in it. Yeah, I don't want to show up the fan base. And I don't want to make myself look like a cunt. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let them just crack on, right, and us just do our thing. Just keep promoting it, keep recycling it until this fucker says, right, I've had enough. I want out of here. And once he does that, that's it. The fan base will go back there. I can guarantee it. If something come out where Sullivan said he's going to be leaving at the end of the season, it was a concrete rumor. Before I get to that rumor there of Brady leaving, yeah, the fan base would return. They would, yeah, because they know that the future is going to be different with a new ownership. Do you know what I'm saying? Sullivan's done his time. Yeah, he's fucked about this club for far too long, and I'm just pleased that Hammers United. And shout out to them because I thought they was brilliant. The cross hammers with like a couple of thousand them and all. Yeah, everyone getting on media. It's what is needed to be done for a long time, and it's just finally that everyone's stood back and gone, "Fuck this! We're all going to stand together." And I'm going to say it: West Ham United is the key word. United, right? Because if everyone comes together, Sullivan can't touch us. He can't, and it's as simple as that. Do you know what I'm saying? What do you make of that rumor there? Brady leaving.
it doesn't really make much of a difference of who's in charge. Sullivan's still there, right? Just because Brady's gone.
It's a start.
Um, it's a starting point, but it doesn't change who the owner is because ultimately, Brady could be replaced with Sullivan Jr.
True. True.
There's so many
No.
aspects to it.
No.
I don't know what's the worst one because ultimately, whilst Sullivan's got the majority directorship, he can. And especially whilst the Gold Estate is still in charge, he would have the voting power to ensure that whoever the next person that comes in as vice chair is of his decision and
Mm.
his process making. And it's I I don't know what's the worst of two evils there. They're both bad.
I know,
I
I
don't know
know what
which
you're
one's
saying.
worse.
I know what you're saying, and if he does do that, then he's obviously he doesn't care. But I don't think he's even mad enough to go down this route and put his son in that situation because his son's there. But it is what it is, right? Let's let Mark in. Mark's just turned up. He's going to say what he wants. Mark, what you saying, mate?
Boys, how you doing? You all right?
All good, mate. Take it away.
Good to see the protest at the weekend. Obviously, it's a shame about the turnout a little bit. I think there's a solid amount of people up there, but I think it's more about the message that the protest itself has rather than like necessarily the outcome. I think a lot of people want to pin people on the outcome. Like, would it really matter if there were 10? Like, obviously it would have. It would have been lovely to see 20,000 people there, but the solid fans were there. I couldn't get there. I'll be honest, I decided to go and play football rather than watch West Ham this weekend because, quite frankly, it makes me happier. And I know that's a really fucking sad statement, but like, it's just how I feel about it. And we won and had a good afternoon, and I could have been sat there in a toxic atmosphere watching us serve up a pile of dross instead, which was, I think I had a better afternoon, put it that way, for playing rather than going. But I think to come back to the manager point, because obviously I've seen there about, no Nuno for now, we're taking a bit of a risk. Because if we think that guy's not going to have job offers on the table from anyone who needs a manager anywhere in Europe, that's a big risk, I would say. If it wasn't him, just a question for you boys, if it wasn't him, who do you think, who excites you in the same way? We were discussing pragmatism the other day and the need for a manager maybe to not be as, we've tried woke football. It ain't fucking worked. So we obviously need to go down the route of a pragmatic manager now. If you didn't have Nuno, where'd you go? Sean Dyche?
No. For me, right, Bellamy.
He's got a national job though, man. Is he going to leave that? But before, they're going to qualify for a World Cup, given there's a shit ton more teams there.
I just like him the way he manages. If I'm being honest, I like him as a bloke. I think he's straight to the point. He's no nonsense. Well. Yeah, he's played for us before. I think he's a sort of person that gets it. He's been trained by sort of Vincent Company. He's worked in Belgium. He's worked with Vincent Company at Burnley. I think he would be a great appointment for a long-term vision. At present, I don't think Sullivan's sacking Potter anytime soon, right? But my fear is if he does sack him, he sacks him after the Arsenal game, uses the international break to go and get a manager in, whoever that is, and he will use the fans against each other for that Brentford game. Trust me.
He's going to be using us. He'll be using. He's been doing it already. Look at the transfer window. I was thinking about this the other day. When you post-mortem something in your own mind, you start to build a picture up of it. When it's happening, you don't see it happening, right? Because you're in the midst of it. If you look back through the summer and all the bullshit that came out, right? And I'm going to mention X on this. And I know last time I did this, you sort of stuck up for him. And a couple of times you've mentioned about some of these ITKs more recently, yeah? Right. But the facts are the facts, right? These people get their information from somewhere. They peddle it out for their own financial gain. Because the moment they went Patreon, I don't care what anyone says, the moment you go down the Patreon route, I subscribe to one Patreon. It's a fucking hilarious podcast that makes me laugh twice or three times a week and makes me feel good about life, right? I wouldn't fucking subscribe to West Ham transfer news because, one, we don't sign any decent players, and two, until they're holding a shirt, I don't believe it anyway. I'd love someone to go through and actually categorically number how many bullshit rumours we got peddled this summer that were there just to make people maybe have discussions. We done it in Spaces. We were talking about the Paqueta leaving situation, never come. Like, a lot of it's just complete and utter BS.
Yeah, but don't get me wrong, Mark, right? I sussed that out in the summer. Every Monday morning, there was a new link. Every Monday at 10 o'clock in the morning, there'd be a new player linked every single time, right? Listen, at the end of the day, I don't really give a fuck if someone's earning a fucking pound note or not. I couldn't care less, because that's just me, right? People get a bit twisted on it because I don't know why, but I'm not like that. I'm just not on that vibe. Maybe because I'm not that emotionally attached to fucking a pound note. So it doesn't really bother me. There is other ITKs out there that are more pushing the narrative than just X. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh no, he gets stick because he's the one with the biggest following, right? And I come back to this. A stop clock is right twice a day, yeah. And what pisses me off is when an ITK comes out with 1,000 rumours, right? And then one of the 1,000 was right. Well, if you say enough fucking names, it's back to the theory of infinity. Give me an infinite amount of monkeys and infinite amount of typewriters. Eventually, they'll type the works of Shakespeare. It doesn't mean they're fucking smart monkeys. They're just tapping keys, right? So I come back to that point a little bit. I love it when they put eyes like, look, we were right. And it's about 2.5 months on. And they haven't mentioned them for 2.5 months because the last fucking thing they put up was in like July, and it's the end of August.
Look, we also see it with, Fabrizio and everyone else.
Fabrizio's the worst. Yeah.
I was about to say, ultimately, ITKs have all come out of, it is this era, whether you like it or not. It's the same with, things like Fabrizio. I mean, gone are the days of someone like Odemwingie going down on the drive on transfer deadline day and then getting a UE back home because the transfer ain't gone through. It's unfortunately the life we now live in. It is very social media led, and these ITKs, whether it's X or whether it ends up anyone else, they're going to be here to stay. Whether it's not him, it will be someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah, but do you know what? I'm just going to say this, Clive. Yeah, like when people have a go at him, yeah, he's in the firing line. I wouldn't like to do what he does.
Oh no,
Fuck
100%.
that. Like, even
At
for a
the
fiver,
end of the day,
fiver a month, right, or whatever it is, yeah. I would not like to have the heat that geezer puts up with. I'll get enough fucking heat on here.
You're right about that. The moment you put yourself in a public space, look at that Tom Skinner geezer at the moment. Don't be wrong, he has done the dirt and his wife.
Yeah.
I'm saying, but the moment you get any notoriety, people are fucking after you, right? But coming back,
100%.
The main point I wanted to make to you about the protest, and I had a really good chat with my mate about this last night, and we were just discussing some different bits about it. Do you know what I said to you the other day about consistency is going to be the key, right? Do you know what West Ham needs, right? And I'm not talking about, because this removes ego from it. It's not about me. It's not about Dan Lawless. It's not about you. Don't matter how many followers you've got. I don't care if you've got 1 million followers on YouTube, right? It's not personality politics. This is get to the crux of, we've got to the crux of the issue. We got taken out of our spiritual home and put into a fucking sanitized CGI vision of the future that never came to fruition. That's the reality of it. I'd rather see a faceless figure with a black screen and a black background talking truth in a lawyer/solicitor fucking way and not getting hung up on things. And let me tell you what happens on TalkSport. And this is where everyone watching this, West Ham fan now, everyone needs to liven up to this fact. Stop talking shit about, I saw a thing the other day, down with the dwarf, right? Now it's funny. I'm all for it. It's funny.
I thought it was fucking great, mate.
No, but I'm not trying to. By the way, let me caveat this by saying it's fucking hilarious, right?
Yeah.
But I'm saying if you do futile things, people will treat you like a child. And if you come up with, if we keep saying things like transfer spend, statistically, I'm going to go back through this. I'm not a fan of Sullivan. I want the guy out of our club yesterday. We're the 8th net spend highest club over the last fucking 7-8 years. So whether you like it or not, when someone goes and talks sport and says, but he's just a penny pincher, isn't he? Jim White will hang you out. He will hang you out on that point because you're wrong, right? So what we need to do is we need to pick the 4 or 5 issues that are factually correct about David Sullivan and bang that fucking drum repeatedly. Don't say bullshit around it.
No, 100%. And do you know what? When people say what they say about Moyes, his last season, he was shocking, this, that, and the other. The problem was he wasn't given the ability to spend. He wasn't backed. He wasn't able to, be able to bring in more players or new players. We'd gone through, 3 European seasons in a row. We didn't have depth then. So this issue has been an issue for 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, but
everyone's aging.
But the only thing I'll say to that, right, is that with the Moyes thing, it come to a toxic end with West Ham fans. West Ham fans were fighting West Ham fans were fighting each other, and that to me is unacceptable.
I was one of them, by the way. Yeah. Let me say something about this. This is an admission of guilt from me, and anyone who was Moyes out brigade with me needs to fucking step up and take a little bit of this heat, right? The fact of the matter is this. Under Moyes right now, we're probably on 7 fucking points and we ain't in a relegation battle, okay? Under Moyes right now, when Moyes, once he won that European trophy, they should give him a 3 or 4 year fucking contract, end and done with it. The moment he got given 12 months, it was a stay of execution. But you're going to get... No, I think we knew we were going to get rid of the guy, right?
Yeah.
And that season came to an untimely...
Yeah, but Mark, I want to say this, yeah? Sullivan played the fan base against each other. Yeah, and not being funny, what owner in their right mind, right, has a manager rolling his contract down? It just doesn't happen. I just want to say this quick, Clive, yeah? I just want to say this quick, and I land, yeah? The thing is, right, Moyes' time was done, yeah? And he had done his time. He took us to a level, right? Now, we need someone to go take us to the next level of maintaining that over a long period of time. That is exactly what it should have been. The issue is not anything to do with Moyes. The issue is the appointment of Julian Lopetegui, the spend in that summer when you've got 3 people spending in that summer? Steiden, fucking Lopetegui, Sullivan, right? How are you
Newman.
supposed to
Don't forget
justify?
Newman.
Oh yeah, but he was that was ages ago. Old Newman. So there
No,
you go.
but that shows the issues we have in the back room. You know, the amount of people we've gone through, Steiden, Newman, etc. Like there is no consistency. There is no long or medium
He
term
gambled,
goal
mate.
or
But
vision.
Clive, I'm telling you,
100%,
he gambled with
100%.
Lopetegui.
He did for sure. Going back onto the original question, which was, what managers I would like to see if it isn't Nuno. I do have
Right.
one in mind that actually I don't know if they've been mentioned at all or not. But it would be Edin Terzic, formerly of Borussia Dortmund and formerly an assistant under
Bilic, yeah.
Slaven Bilic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, he knows the club. He got Dortmund to the Champions League final.
That'd be far too
the,
sensible, though. Like, do you know when you mention a target?
No,
like that,
but-
it makes me
but-
laugh, though.
But he's been on a sabbatical for a good 2 or 3 years. He hasn't managed anyone. So, and he's a sort of manager that would, again, go for younger players. So like your Diouf and everyone, build on those sort of players because that is the Dortmund model. And that could be something that could be utilised at West Ham.
Let me ask you a question. I'll put this to the chat and all. Obviously, there's a break clause in his contract, and this break clause is doing the damage to West Ham at the minute. Because if he didn't have the break clause in the contract, I think Sullivan would have sacked him.
But you'd have a 2-year contract, though, so that doesn't make sense. If he didn't have a break clause, he'd have a 2 or 3 year contract.
No, what it was, he had a 2.5-year deal. Yeah, the 6 months was obviously last year, or last season, sorry. And obviously, after the first year, they're gonna assess it. Yeah, and that's what the break clause is. Because Sullivan obviously got burnt by Lopetegui, so he put a break clause in there to say that if it ain't working out, he can cut out and cut the deal, and he ain't got to pay anyone out compensation. Sullivan's using that, even though he's a cunt. But what it is that whoever comes into this club has to look at the long-term vision, right? It's like short-term gain at the minute, and at the minute, short-term gain is to stay in the fucking league.
But that's why I say someone like Terzic would be an ideal appointment, because I think if you're going to sign Nuno has to be on a long-term appointment. But in all fairness, with the Nuno situation, he's a bit of a Jose Mourinho. He's in a club for about 2 or 3 years, and then that's it.
Perfect for what we need now. I'll tell you now, I would agree with you on Terzic. If we had a new owner tomorrow, right, Terzic should be the perfect man to build a project around. But we are not project building whilst we're firefighting. At the moment, we basically want one or two things to come
No, 100%.
Our house is on fire, so if you're going to come in, you're going to be putting fire out all day, every day, because your boss is David Sullivan. Okay. Also, what's indicative of every fucking business, by the way, if good staff come into a business and leave, it's because of the structure at the top. I've seen it in my professional life. I've seen companies fall apart, and then you get 10 good people going there, and it doesn't matter how hard they work or how fucking good they are, you can't make progress in a shit situation, right? And where we're at right now, I come back to the stadium thing again, until Sullivan gets his hands on that stadium, nothing's going to change.
Yeah, but
do you know what the downside is to what you say there? Because if you can't, the thing is, I'm not saying building is the right option in the sense of manager, but my thing is, it's going to end up in a situation then where realistically, the person with the best credentials to fight a relegation fight is Sean Dyche.
Yeah,
I hate saying that.
Yeah, but I understand that. I understand that. Don't get me wrong, right? And we're not in a situation to try and get a high-end manager. This is where Sullivan's fucked up. This is where he's fucked up. Because if he
I don't think Terzic is a high-end manager.
Yeah, but after Prague, you had a decision to make in the future of West Ham. You either stay with Moyes or you go down a different route, and you can go and get anyone. Thomas Frank, Iola, anyone you like. Like, the one thing is, we act like a League One side, right? And we're being run like a League One side. West Ham's a big club, mate. And I'm going to say this quite openly. I've noticed this through doing this game. This game that I'm doing right now with the YouTube and everything, right? I'm speaking to people from fucking Bangkok, for fuck's sake. Do you know what I'm saying? Who are West Ham fans. So, like, there's a different level to this. We're not the old West Ham anymore. Granted, this is the new West Ham. We've got to start acting like the new West Ham, and we don't. The reason why we don't act like it, because Sullivan doesn't invest no money into his club. That's the problem. He's trying to make West Ham be contained in the Premier League to a point, right? But there's no substance to it, right? Because you need investment to go to the next level, and we're not going to the next level at the minute. We're static at the minute.
I think the sooner we make this potential managerial change, the better. Because ultimately, I mean, if you actually look at the points between what is it, about 13th to 19th, there's only obviously one win difference in that. So, you know, if you were to bring in someone like a Nuno or even a Terzic, it would be the right time to make the appointment. But the later we leave it, the better someone's credentials like a Sean Dyche is.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's what the fan base would want to see on the basis of how he
So,
plays.
so let me put this
style.
to you then, right? When do you reckon it happens? Because if he gets any sort of result in the next two, he stays after the international break for me.
I think we're going to smash so hard by Arsenal, it's just a non-conversation. Honestly, we could get a point or even 3 points at Everton. Arsenal are going to fucking ruin it. Arteta, right, plays By the way, Arsenal were like Stoke, but in the top four. They're shit to watch. Yeah, so any Arsenal fan who thinks
True story.
the Wenger game's fucking gone, boys. You lot played long ball, set piece bullshit football. Facts, and you've got to sign a massive striker because that's the only way they're going to score any goals, right? They played non-football at home to City. Yeah. He will still go attack against us because that's how shit we are. We're like a wounded animal, mate. And the problem with treading water in football is this. If all you aim to do is tread water, what's the only thing that can happen to you? You either keep treading it or you fucking drown. Yeah. Now the problem is the best result is you carry on treading water. It's not like we're swimming somewhere. We're not on a road to anywhere as a club right now. And I keep saying this, and it's depressing. And it's one of the reasons why every time I think about West Ham football at the moment, I'm just like. Because we're treading water until Sullivan's gone. We're treading water until we can change it out of our stadium. We're treading water under Potter, but we're not even treading it well. We're basically semi-fucking drowning under Potter. It's like, when does the sunshine come out for West Ham? And the answer is partially the day Sullivan leaves. It's partially, do you know what? If that statement last week, and I'll come back to that statement a little bit last week, that statement was all of that guff and bullshit they mentioned, but it ended with, and by the way, we've agreed to buy the stadium. Fans would have been placated and we'd have been in a much better position. But where's the positive? I'll ask you guys, where's the positive bookend to this scenario? We get another manager in and we stay up. But what's it going to take for us to just stop treading water and be making progress?
For me, there has to be major board shift. Like, people don't care now, Mark. I'm reading comments. I'm speaking. All right, people do not give a fuck if West Ham will stay in the Premier League or not.
Yeah,
and that is like this is a worrying sign. Yeah,
I definitely care. Yeah, I worried that our club might not exist if we get relegated.
I care, and all Clive. And I completely agree with you, mate. And I don't want to see West Ham. I've seen West Ham get relegated twice in my lifetime. I don't want to see a fucking third time, mate. I really don't. But people don't care now, right? Their main aim is to get this fucker out of this club, right? And if he starts by sacking Brady at the end of the year or whenever. Right, that's a start. Right, I don't believe it because they're under pressure. Right, they're getting it from everywhere. Even David Sullivan's fucking missus is having it on fucking X and
that's
Instagram.
Joke, by the way. That's fucking outrageous.
Yeah, but you know what? They're rattled. And fucking right, they rattled because there was 3,000 there at the weekend. You wait till there's about 10, 15,000 there because there will be, because people will slowly start to turn. People will slowly start coming over, and then the old school and the old guard and the people that haven't been there for years will go say, "Fuck this! I'm going down to that protest and the next one, and then I'm going to go down to the next one." And before you know where you are, you're going to have 10,000 West Ham fans fucking marching through the streets of East London. It will work. I'm telling you, it will work.
I'll tell you what, the difficulty is, I think, to me at least, what's happening on the field does matter to an extent. So on that basis, I think, the very latest I would like to see, if we continue going the way we are, which I don't see us getting really any results, if I'm honest, over the next 4 games. I think if we lose to both Brentford and then Leeds, I think after Leeds is when he goes, which gives the opportunity for a new manager to come in. We'll take the hit on Newcastle, no doubt, but then you've got the Burnley game, which will be probably a must win. Then you've got another international break, which will give a potential manager to come in. But I actually think what the board does, if they do sack Potter, their next steps might be as important as what we're doing. And the reason I say that is because if they bring in someone like a Sean Dyche with a short-term vision, I don't think that'll be accepted by the fan base. Whoever we bring in, it needs to be, it's not just because we're getting relegated. Not like when the first time we hired David Moyes, where it was a temporary thing. Then we went to Pellegrini and then we went back to Moyes,
Yeah, but what is acceptable as a management appointment? Now, I've asked both of you this. Slaven Bilic, is that acceptable, really?
No.
Yeah, I completely agree.
No. He has had average to subpar performances at multiple clubs over the last decade. His last successful season was 2015-16 with West Ham United. After that, it's all gone downhill at every single club he has been at, and I think he's been at about 5 different clubs. So he needs us more than we need him.
Right, we're talking about a lack of vision. If we go back to it, honestly, if the best option for us as a club is getting fucking stuck, because by the way, Bilic era was one of my favourite for me as a fan, just for the Payet moments and some of the things. One of the best times, yeah. But by the end, the bloke had aged about fucking 10 years overnight. I remember he did an interview and his beard was all fucking grey. He just looked like a homeless geezer. He looked like a bloke who'd been pulled through a back of a bush backwards, and he was in a bad way. I don't understand why he would want the job, apart from. But he's done nothing.
He needs us.
Well, yeah, but the point for us is if you talk about vision, that's like fucking that's RNIB levels of new manager. Like if that's the case, we need to literally someone needs to go and register Sullivan with the Royal National Institute for the Blind because we have no vision, and that's the opposite of vision. I genuinely give me dashboard.
I genuinely think. I genuinely think the reason Bilic's name came up was because the ownership knew already. Well, they'd already been taking the whole protest seriously, and I think Bilic was put in there. I think Bilic was put in there because it was like, the fans loved him before. We'll have someone that's on our side, so then on the field can be ignored a little bit, and perhaps the tensions off the field, calm down.
Didn't they throw out to test
what it is? Yeah, I completely agree with you on that. Right. They want to bring someone in who's a fan's favourite. The issue is the fans are not buying it no more. If you are a proper owner and you want the best for this club, you do what Villa done and went and got Unai Emery out of fucking Villarreal. Even though Villa ain't doing so great at the minute, still a great manager. West Ham don't act like that. West Ham
ain't going to sign a manager, are we? Yeah, we're never going to pay a fee. We know that.
But this is where it goes wrong, right? Because what you're doing is you're getting people that are begging for work. Do you know what I mean? And we're always like, you got more chance of West Ham getting Gary O'Neill, Slaven Bilic, and fucking Nuno than anyone. And with Nuno, I'm not really fussed either way, right? I do care about this club, and I don't want this club to go down. But if we get Slaven Bilic in here, it's over. Simple as that. It really is.
Nuno's the only man, I can tell you now, Nuno's the only man out of any of the names mentioned that makes me think we could progress. I'm just putting in perspective. The bloke has earned his stripes, okay? He's worked under a nut job director in Marinakis who is just proper balls out the bar fucking mental and just he's the sort of guy who'd bring a gun to the stadium if we had different gun laws in this country. He's a nutter. But Nuno would, to some extent, he would placate the fans because we'd have a bit of structure about us, we'd have a bit of fight. My biggest problem with Potter is more than anything else. Do you know what? On the footballing side, if he got 9 months and the right players, would we play better football eventually? Yes. We've got the softest underbelly of any team in the league right now. Leeds are picking up points left, right, and centre. Sunderland are picking up. Sunderland had 10 men at the weekend and still went and fucking scored an equaliser. Watching that made me feel sick to the pit of my stomach because I'm thinking, am I now looking up to Sunderland? As a West Ham fan, am I actually now looking up to Sunderland? The answer is yes.
Can I ask you a question? I've got 150 people in the chat. Please do smash a like on the video. I'm going to ask this to the chat and all. Do you think we're going to get relegated this year, Clive?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I know. I'll tell you the reason why I think West Ham are in trouble. Because I think Sullivan's going to delay this as far as possible.
Bingo. That's my issue. Is it will be until it's too goddamn late. And the only saving grace we have is that Wolves are about 10 times shitter than we can be shit.
Yeah, and what it is, I see this. And it's like history repeating under Avram Grant. Right, I remember when West Ham was shit, and he had the opportunity to sack Avram Grant in the January. He didn't bother yet again because media exposed him.
Zola.
Well, yeah, and everything
Zola
with
as
that.
well. There's multiple times where we've seen this, and I agree. I think this is going to be left too late, which is why I say I think what the ownership do, because the results on the field are not the way they should be, and ultimately this team shouldn't be in the place that they are. I mean, a lot of these players are a heck of a lot better than they're performing, in my opinion, at least. And I think what happens over the next, I'd say, 6 to 8 weeks is probably vital. I think if we do not sack the manager by 8 weeks latest from now, which would take us to end of November, I think we're a sinking ship both on and off the field right now.
Yeah, completely
Before
agree.
Palace, do you know what? Before
One more.
Palace, I'd have said if we'd have won that game, there's still a chance the answer is no. The reaction, I was at footy, I finished, I whacked it on, watched the last 25 minutes, and I watched us go 2-1 down and then get hammered by Palace when we're 2-1 down and we're in a relegation battle. So that told me everything I needed to know about the current state of affairs. Because if you're 2-1 down at home to Palace and you're not putting them on the back foot, what the fuck is going on? Like, genuinely, did we look like scoring a goal when we went 2-1 down? The answer is no. Apparently we had a good spell when we scored, but once they scored their second goal, at no point did we look like scoring a goal.
I'll be honest. The Palace game was a bit of a weird one, really. They scored; they were the better side. But when we equalised, we actually played all right. And then their goal just literally kicked the fucking nuts out of us. West Ham.
That's the problem. We play well for 20 minutes out of a 90-minute game. It was the same when before we went down to 10 men. You can all blast Thomas Souček. Yeah, he shouldn't have got the red card. Yeah, it was ridiculous. But to have 10 men and fall the way we did. There's just no.
Also, I'm sick of hearing Potter say. I'm sick of hearing him. If I hear him say we're all hurting again, I'm just going to fucking lose the will to live. Like
he is the biggest woke cunt I've ever heard him.
Mate, and the thing is about that, he says things like we're all hurting, we're all doing this. Do you know what, mate? When I'm in pain, like, I challenge any fucking human being to go and stub your toe on the corner of your sofa and not go fuck and show some emotion, right? He is like a man. He's like a man who posts a second-class fucking letter to somebody to check whether he's allowed to be upset about something. That's what he reminds me of. He's like, probably stubs his toe and goes, quickly, let me grab my quill and ink. I must pen a letter. Is this okay? Would it be acceptable for me to shout fuck in 4 days' time? He probably, like, he's so slow to react. I don't even see a man, by the way. And by the way, I'm not even take this out of it. If I went to West Brom tomorrow as manager, I don't give a shit about the place. I don't have anyone I know from there. I'd still have pride. I'd think you 11 fucking pricks are going to get me sacked. You're going to I'd be screaming and shouting at people and showing some reaction and showing some emotion. The guy looks like a man who's got literally carrying his own fucking tombstone around his neck. Yeah. And it's just like Eeyore. He is Eeyore. He's just, ooh. And I'm bored of it. He's
got no aggression in him. And he's got no he's very placid. Is the word.
He's nice, Graham. That's what he is. He's a nice man. And I'm sure if you went to a dinner party, he'd talk about his Tesla and how quick it charges up. He reminds me, he's a Norbit Nigel. He's what I call actually. That's what he is. He's actually. Can I just make a point to you? That's what he reminds me of. And you know what? Get actually out of my fucking club and give me anyone who's just got any bollocks whatsoever. Look, coming back to your point about management, I just want to see. The reason I would have accepted Jose is we just become like bastards. My perfect manager,
Graham, nice Graham.
Graham actually Potter is what he is. Right? He's a nice fella, and don't be wrong. Honestly, if he was watching this, I feel kind of part of me goes. When you get judged in purgatory, someone's going to go, you fucking verbally obliterated that nice man, Graham, right? Genuinely, I feel bad every time I have a go at him because when you see him talk to his brother about mental health, and I'm sure he's a nice psychologist and he'd be a good therapist if I needed to get some stuff off my chest, right? But he's manager of West Ham United Football Club, right? And last time I checked, that comes with a certain amount of personality requirements that are like required to have the fucking job. He doesn't meet any of those factors at all. So the reason I'd sack him right now is because tactically you're shit, personality-wise you're shit. You're soft as fuck. You don't react to anything. And what, you're going to come in and collect another day's worth of money tomorrow in my fucking club?
Do you know what I think is the biggest game out of our next 4?
What's that?
Brentford game, which is in 3 games' time. Because if
No
you
one's
look
going to
at the
fucking be
4
there, though.
Yeah.
well, it's 3 games away, and I do think he will be still. That's the funny thing, because
Yeah, but there won't be any fans there.
oh yeah, there won't be any fans there.
I've got to be honest. I've got to be honest.
The reason I say it's go on.
Go on, mate. Go on, Clive. I'm just looking
I
at
was
the
gonna say,
chat.
the
People are
reason
pissing
I
themselves laughing at fucking Graham Nice and Nice Graham and fucking, you know.
Oh, it's true. He is. He is far too nice.
He's the like.
He's too placid. He's too
He's
placid.
he's like a village person, right? And my missus lives in Suffolk, right? I come across these village people all the time, right? And he's like, you know,
James.
yeah.
Hello. Walking his dog. Hello.
He's walking his dog, mate, and like, you know, fucking like mowing the lawn and all that. You know what I mean? Fuck me. Go on, Clive. Carry on. I'm done.
But I genuinely think 4 out of the bottom 5 right now in the Premier League are 4 of those will be in the bottom 4. And 3 of those obviously are going to be the ones relegated out of those 4. I think the only team that shouldn't be down there right now is Villa. But if you look at the rest, you look at Burnley, you look at Brentford, you look at West Ham, you look at Wolves, I think that is your top 4 in the sense of relegation.
Listen, I think West Ham need to get something at Everton, even a point. I fucking do at the minute, just to stop this rot.
Well, we're
I
lucky that Brentford's next 2 games are the 2 Manchester clubs, and then they've got us. And I think that's the big thing. That's why I say the Brentford game is huge for us, in my opinion. Because if we lose that, not even draw it, if we lose, there's going to be starting to get some gaps between that relegation zone.
Especially when there's the two games between Brentford and Leeds, which is very weird. I've never seen it before. A game on a Monday night and a game on a Friday night on for the same club. Right, I've never seen that one before, but that's what it is. Right, before I let Mark go, any final words, Mark?
No, I just hope at some point I can come on here and be cheerful, because like my MO used to be, me and my mate Fieldy used to debate it, and he was like the miserable sort of realist, and I was like the optimist, and I just don't know what's happened to me in the last 6 months. So I'm optimistic when there's something to be optimistic about, but what I see at the moment is like West Ham is like a planet that's been nuked to shit, and it's just a fucking nuclear winter, and you step out and it's just radiation dust everywhere, and you're just sort of thinking to yourself, how the fuck are we going to survive this lot? Because it is the perfect storm at the moment. You've got a bad owner, you've got a disenfranchised fucking fan base, you've got a shit manager, and you've got a team full of players who, for whatever reason, and by the way, the one thing I will not allow anyone to hang us up on is that this squad is a bottom fucking 5 squad. Player for player, we are still in the top
exactly
15.
That's what I've been saying.
We're still in the top 15
exactly what I've been saying.
In the league. So stick a rocket up their ass, right? And watch us not fly, because I don't think we'll fly. I think we'll take off. We might reach just enough stratospheric height to stay up, right? That's all we fucking need. So from the pragmatist in me says, I don't care. I don't care whether it's Dyche for 9 months, whether it's Nuno, whether it's fucking Allardyce on another. I'm getting to the point where I would accept Sam Allardyce ball for 9 months just to retain us in the league. And I said at Upton Park, when I was watching us play under him, it was the worst football I'd ever fucking seen. I would take that right now. And that's to the point at which we've been eroded. There's basically nothing left. We are the Ian Beale of football in Premier League scene. And we've got to go and find some fucking backbone and some spirit soon, because that's the only thing that's going to keep us up.
Yeah, I completely agree, mate. Nice, Graham. Nice.
Graham, nice. Nice to meet you. See you later, boys.
In a bit.
It's like Tim Nice but dim, innit? Do you know what I mean? That's Graham Nice but dim. Fuck me, that is his fucking name, mate. Graham Nice but proper fucking dim. Harry Enfield, mate. Go back and watch it, kids. Clive, any final words from you, mate, before I let you go?
I think it's just really a case of, I think the next few weeks are going to be vital for the club. Both probably on and off the pitch. Like I say, you know, the one protest is good, but it's where we go on from this, and from in terms of on the field, I think next 3 or 4 games are going to be very telling of exactly where we are going to be by the end of the season, I think.
Yeah, I hear you, mate. All right, man. Clive, I'll let you go, mate. Take it easy. That's been Clive. My final thought on this Have Your Say video, and anyone who ever wants to come on here, the link's in the chat. By all means, just click on the link, come on. As long as you got your mic and you got a camera, it's all good. It's all love. My final thought is this, is that everyone is sticking together now. Yeah, Sullivan, you are firmly in the firing line, mate, and I cannot wait for everyone to throw you out the fucking door. I will say that, but it's coming. It's coming. It's going to take a bit of time. The media pressure is absolutely brilliant from every West Ham supporter, YouTuber, social media influencer, everyone. Everyone's doing their bit. Shout out to Hammers United for doing their stuff also, and Cross Hammers. I see it on Saturday. It was excellent, absolutely excellent, and makes you very, very proud that when everyone comes together, the United does stand for something at this club. In regards to Graham Potter, he's a walking sort of dead man to a point, and it's not a case of if he gets the sack, it's a case of when. My only issue is, will Sullivan delay this and delay it to the point where he will sack him too late, and then we're fighting uphill. We need results. We need something at Everton next Monday, and that's in a week's time, and we need something against Arsenal, which I can't see us getting anything there either. So it's going to be quite hard couple of weeks for West Ham. But one thing I will say is, right, West Ham and their fan base will always be there. Do you know what I mean? Sullivan won't be there for long. Trust me on this. He won't, and he will be gone. But we'll always be there. And all the people, like myself, we will be back. Yeah, I want to go back home, right? And I know Upton Park is and always will be the home, but this is our current home now. But I need to go back to West Ham and make it a home again for every West Ham fan. And we will do it. We will do it. I'm so calm on this because I know this will work and actions will start happening. So there you go. Anyway, that's enough from me. Take care of yourselves out there. Please do smash a like on the video, subscribe to E20 Zone TV, and hit the notification bell and all that game. I'm off to have a game of pool tonight, mate. Monday nights is pool night for me, so I'm going to be having a game of pool, having a chill out tonight. So no more drama, West Ham, for tonight, please. But next Monday, I'll be back to do, obviously, watch along and everything else for the Everton game. So, yeah, listen, keep up the fight. United we stand forever. Peace.